Alright, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakurash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all like to Akim, while Akwath, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit, live from GMS Detroit. Just a lesson, that came to mind. I was reading through the book of Acts, seeing a couple events happen with the Apostle Paul. Alright, and just, some advice to be given in today's time, because hey, we're living in a modern day version of Acts to a degree. We're preaching this word, the elect are waking up, being converted, and it's shaking and ruffling feathers of people in the world. So you will find yourself in many instances where you have the opportunity to engage in debates with people, in public or family or friends. And you don't always have to take those engagements. You don't always have to hop into debates with these non-believers, because they're going to be destroyed anyway. All right, so the basis of this lesson, you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. All right, when you're first coming in, everybody's super hot and zealous. You're telling everybody that you know, and it's usually resulting in you burning bridges and breaking down relationships. And as the years go by, if you're smart, some of those bridges and some of those relationships you'll go and repair. So you have these people to your disposal in life, keeping it real. We'll get that. Matter of fact, we'll start with that in Luke, and then I'll get to the scriptures. I'll get a couple of the scriptures out of the book of Acts that inspired it. Let me get this precept, Salaki, y'all, on the road. But both ends, you got to know the balance. Sometimes you do got to put your foot down and correct a motherfucker when they're saying something incorrect. And other times, just let it go. Because now you in the center of 1,000 people, police ready to hop on you. You feel me? All right. Hey, there's one place where we go and shout to the top of our lungs, and that's at camp. Outside of that, be incognito, as much as possible. Luke 16:9, it says, "And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations." Right, so you can have acquaintances and friends of the world who you make use of in your times of need. Some of them being your family, right? If you burn your bridges with your father and your mother, let's say you get in a situation, where you got to move. Now you don't got nowhere to stay, nigga, you can't, because you was cursing them out every time they picked up a piece of bacon rather than just letting it be. All right, don't burn your bridges. That's another key point. So that's just something I wanted to mention right off top, y'all. You can have relationships with people of the world. You just don't let those relationships, obviously get in the way of performing the work. And if it is, something like that, then that's, you cut a person off, whether it be a chick, right? So your homies of the world, right? All they want to do is smoke and play the game. You can leave them alone. All right, with certain people, you don't just curse out and flip off everybody. All right, so now let's go to the book of Acts. Let me get this example, because there's going to be times that the Spirit hits you, and you're not going to be able to resist going in through the Spirit. You're gonna be like, man, I gotta say something. And I've had this happen. Hey, there was a couple years back, me and Arya, camp was over, everyone's going home, and there's these Christians that they was down there on the corner preaching bullshit, and I just couldn't take it no more. So I went down on them, and started scripturally tearing them up. And then I called the brother Arya up. I was like, hey, bro, because my voice was scratchy. I had a sore throat from just getting over a cold. I was like, man, come pull up real quick. It's like, one of me is like 10 of them. Come on. So he pulls up, and we just get to scripturally, we're going over everything. The names, who salvation is for. We're going over everything. And we just in the center of the circle, just going in. And there's a certain point, a girl, she kept, there's this white bitch, she kept talking and talking and talking. And then I was like, I ain't call her a B word, but I'm like, man, you're not even supposed to be talking. And we got the scripture, in Timothy and Corinthians, and she breaks down crying, takes off running. So, hey, there'll be times that the Lord will let you go, you know, scripture for scripture with the masses. But that's not going to be often, and that's not going to be, you know, plenty. You pick your battles wisely. Acts 17 and 16. It says, now while Paul waited for them at Athens, he was waiting for some of his fellow brethren to show up. It says, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met him. So right, Paul was here at Athens, and he saw it was nothing but idolatry. He said, you know what, man, fuck this. You know, he was supposed to be waiting for, who was it, Silas and Timotheus. He said, man, I'm going in. And he went in, and, you know, you read further down, right, this is where it tells you what they had the altar to the unknown God. And he actually went and preached, and through his preaching, you know, certain Jake woke up. All right, so it wasn't just a cutting campaign. He saw the idolatry, and it inspired him to go in and to begin to preach Yahushua in Athens. All right, and I'm pulling this because you'll have moments like that in this life. You looking around, you somewhere, and it's just nothing but bullshit, and you like, man, I can't take no more of this. All right, so you might mention something to somebody. You might mention something to a couple of somebodies. Now, is that something you do, let's say, in the middle of the mall? Is that something you do at a fucking football game? All right, no. You around drunk people, you around niggas' mamas, all right? Somebody might try to get carnal with you, all right? So you have to practice discernment when and when you can get away with openly speaking about the truth in front of the masses, all right? Although we love and cherish this truth, these people look at us as fucking enemies and will kill you, like they killed many of our forefathers. Many of the apostles died brutally for preaching this word. Could they have chose to let me let this go by? Now granted, that was their destiny regardless, right? That was set up from Yahushua. But there are going to be times in your life when you don't have to engage, y'all, because engaging isn't always the smartest option. Let me get this. Let me show you. We go to the book of Sirach. Let's go to Sirach 20 and 20. It says, a wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out. Slakia. I'm sorry, verse 19. Slakia, y'all. Sirach 20 and 19. An unreasonable tale will always be in the mouth of the unwise. A wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of a fool's mouth, for he will not speak it in due season. Right? There's a season for everything, y'all. Even though we know the truth, even though what we're saying is correct, it is not always the time. All right? You know, you in the middle, you just seen a nigga get shot in the middle of the street. There's a whole bunch of niggas clamoring over him. You run in. Well, if that nigga was serving the Lord, he wouldn't have got killed. Man, them Jacob might turn around and hop on you. Right? They're gonna think you the ops who didn't damn popped him. You understand what I'm saying? Let me see if I can adjust this real quick. All right, there's a time and a place for everything. All right, and in this truth, as time goes by, you should be developing discernment. Even in interactions amongst brothers, you don't always have to be open in your mouth. You don't always have to, you know, interject, try to cut somebody off when they're speaking. All right, the planet Earth isn't going to end if you don't open your mouth. All right, especially out here dealing in the world, you're not going to receive the grace and the mercy that you receive from brothers. You say something to a nigga in the world that he don't like, he might try to open your face up. So that's when you practice discernment. Learn when you can get away with speaking, and learn when you can't. All right, what's the word? You got 2 eyes and 1 mouth. So you should do, oh no, I'm sorry, 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should do more listening than you're doing talking. The next one out of Sirach, 22. Yep. So just because you're right doesn't always mean it's the right time to say something. Sirach 22 and 6, it says, a tale out of season is as music in mourning. Right. So you at a funeral playing what's that fucking song, man? It's at every nigga barbecue. Oh, what's that song? It's not the R. Kelly one. What's the, You Make Me Happy? You know, y'all already know it. Y'all already know it. Dun, 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 you know, niggas playing the trumpet. You got somebody laying deceased, and you know you turn on goddamn what niggas listen to now? Goddamn Spotify. You know, playing some fucking grill music. You might get beat up, and rightfully so. Why? Because you were doing something out of season. So back in verse 6 it says, "But stripes and correction of wisdom are never out of time." Right? You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. Do not use this truth as an example to be uncontrollable with your mouth. You will find yourself fucked up. You can talk yourself in a ticket. You can talk yourself out of a ticket. A cop pulls you, "Oh, Mr. Officer, you know what? You's a fucking Edomite. Oh, bitch, you going into slavery." And then when you find yourself waking up in 8 hours after he goddamn Billy clubbed half your head off, and you in the cell, broken up, then you gonna, you know, be calling brothers, "All brothers, man, I don't know what happened, man. You got to run in your mouth." What you're saying was correct. He is an Edomite. He is going into captivity. But do you run your mouth to somebody that has the power to kill you? No. Matthew, what is that, 5:25? Agree with thine adversary quickly. All right? And you can apply that to the people of the world. All the people of the world are your adversaries. You're playing chess with these people. In every interaction you're having, you're trying to maintain the upper hand so they don't have shit to say on you and can't do shit against you. Another scripture, let's go to Acts. We're going to go to the 19th chapter now, just looking at another example. Now, this is Paul, once again, Apostle Paul. He was about to turn up again, but this time the brothers actually had to hold him back, because had he went in there, he most likely would have lost his life. So this is going to be Acts 19. Acts 19. Okay, I want to start at 24. We're going to go 24 through 31, just so we can lay some of the background. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this turn. Okay. All right, Acts 19 to 24. It says, "For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen." So this man was an idol maker. It says, verse 25, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, "Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth. Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone in Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands." Right, so they're having a council about what to do with Paul. He's going around the world preaching, converting everyone to Yahushua, giving up their idols, which is making us lose out on money. All right, and that's what he didn't give a fuck about no goddamn goddess Diana. He gave a fuck that his pockets was giving it. But you know, he was trying to appeal to the senses. Verse 27. "So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath, and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. And the whole city was filled with confusion, having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions in travel. They rushed with one accord into the theater." So right here, let me see if I can get past this asshole. Right here, you see that through Paul's teachings, you had men who were getting all bent the fuck out of shape because they were losing money. You know, they're losing clientele, they're losing business and favor at, you know, the brothers and sisters waking up. And it plunged the city into a riot. Now, granted, right now, y'all, we're not dealing with absolute riots every time we go out and preach, but we are about to start dealing with people trying to take our lives because of this word. We've been from all the different camps, right? We've been going out for years. People recognize us, and we recognize people. There's certain people that didn't talk shit, and they keep walking by, and you know, you mean mug them, they mean mug you back, you mean mug their ass back, right? Hey, when shit pops, some of them might come looking for us. Now, granted, many of them motherfuckers are gonna die. Especially anyone who lives downtown in any metro area, they're just fucking fish food when Jacob's trouble hits. Nevertheless, we've made enemies because of this ministry. And when you cannot expect that everyone is going to follow police rules and not do nothing to nobody, all right? There are people that do actively want to hurt us because of this truth. Not even just the elites. I'm talking about these little shifter brains running around. All right, Acts 19 and 30. And when Paul would have entered into the people, the disciples suffered him not. And certain of the chief of Asia, which were his friends, sent unto him, desiring him that he would not adventure himself into the theater. Right. So Paul himself was about to go into the theater where everybody was at, acting a motherfucking fool. And if Paul would have went in there, the book of Acts would have ended in the 16th chapter, right? Instead of 28. They would have killed him. That's without, you can put two and two together. The whole city upside down because of him. If he would have stepped in there solo dolo, as bold as he was in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, he would have not made it out that day. It wasn't his time. All right, you learn later on, you know, down the line, years later, he ends up getting beheaded, but it wasn't his time. So the brothers had to hold him back. You may find yourself in situations like that in your real life. You might be hot and ready to go, and your brother's saying, "No, bro, chill. It's not the place. It's not the time." And if a brother's telling you chill, especially if you're with a brother and he's more familiar with the area than you are, he knows how the people can get. If you trying to turn up and he's saying chill, and now you know you got 20 dudes on your head trying to bop you, hey, you might just have to eat. You might just have to take your ass with him because you weren't listening to reason. All right. That was really it. That's all I had. Once again, discernment when you out here in public. Know when you can speak about the truth. Know when you can't, or even just anything to these people in general. You know the types of things that can piss the people off, right? You don't go into Planned Parenthood. You don't run into Planned Parenthood telling everybody that they're gonna die because they're baby killers. You don't run into the middle of Walmart screaming that all y'all are idiots. You eat GMOs. You all, you know, somebody's gonna try to hop on you. All right, practice wisdom. We read these scriptures. We read these events that happen. Practice them in your life. All right, use the knowledge. That's wisdom. So that's it, y'all. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim. Rakakurash, double honors to the elders and apostles here at Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations all like Akim wa Akwa, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.